Sophie and the Talking Flowers. Sophie loved to explore. Whether it was climbing the tallest trees in her backyard, walking along winding paths through the woods, or simply sitting under the stars at night, she always found herself in awe of the world around her. There was one place, however, that always seemed to call to her more than any other: a small, hidden garden at the edge of the forest near her home. Sophie had stumbled upon the garden one summer afternoon while she was wandering through the woods. She had followed a narrow, overgrown path that she had never noticed before and had found herself in a secret, enchanting garden. The flowers were unlike any she had seen. Vivid, colorful blossoms swayed in the breeze, and the air was sweet with the scent of lavender and jasmine. It was the kind of place that felt magical, a place where secrets seemed to live between the petals of each flower. She visited the garden often, sitting quietly among the flowers, her fingers gently brushing the petals. It was always a peaceful place, but Sophie had never noticed anything unusual about it until one warm afternoon when everything changed. Sophie sat beneath a large sunflower, enjoying the sunshine on her face. She closed her eyes, letting the warmth of the sun wash over her, when, suddenly, a soft voice broke the silence. "Hello, little one," the voice said. Sophie shot up in surprise, her heart racing. She looked around, but no one was there. "Who's there?" Sophie asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I am Lila, the sunflower," the voice replied. Sophie blinked, her eyes widening in disbelief. A sunflower was speaking to her? She had to be imagining things. But as she looked at the sunflower's golden petals, she saw something different in its gaze. Something wise, something old. "Can you really talk?" Sophie asked in awe, still unsure if she was hearing things. "Indeed, I can," the sunflower replied. "And I am not alone. The flowers here can all speak, but only to those who truly listen." Sophie couldn't believe what she was hearing. She leaned in closer to the sunflower, her curiosity bubbling over. "You can talk? Why haven't I heard you before?" "We only speak to those who are willing to hear our wisdom," Lila explained. "It's not about hearing with your ears, but with your heart. If you listen carefully enough, you will hear us." Sophie's eyes sparkled with excitement. "What do you know? Can you teach me?" Lila smiled, a soft, knowing smile that made Sophie feel both small and important at the same time. "We have much to teach, child. If you are willing to learn." Sophie nodded eagerly, her heart pounding in anticipation. She had always believed that there was more to the world than met the eye, and now she had found a magical secret that few people knew. For the next several days, Sophie visited the garden again and again, each time hoping to learn something new. The first lesson came from the daisies. Sophie was lying on the soft grass near a cluster of daisies, enjoying the gentle breeze. She noticed that the daisies seemed to smile at her in the wind, their white petals dancing playfully in the sunlight. "You look troubled, dear," one of the daisies said softly. Sophie sat up in surprise. "Me? I'm not troubled. I'm just thinking." The daisy chuckled gently. "Thinking is good, but sometimes it helps to be kind to others, too. You see, kindness can make the world around you a little brighter. If you give it freely, you'll find it comes back to you." Sophie thought about this. She often saw her friends at school being kind to each other, but sometimes she wasn't sure how to be kind in a way that made a real difference. She smiled at the daisy. "I'll try to be kinder," she promised. The next lesson came from the roses. Sophie had been spending time by the rose bushes, admiring their velvety petals, when one of the roses spoke to her. "Patience, dear one," the rose said, its voice slow and steady. "Patience is the key to everything. You must wait for the right moment, for the right time, for things to grow and bloom." Sophie frowned. "But sometimes, it's so hard to wait. I want everything to happen right now." The rose laughed softly, its petals fluttering in the breeze. "You must remember, little one, that things take time. Just like us, everything has its season. You will learn in time that patience will bring you the most beautiful results." Sophie thought about this. There were so many things she wanted to rush: projects at school, fun things with her friends, even learning to ride her bike faster. But maybe the rose was right. Patience could be the key to making things truly beautiful. The final lesson Sophie learned came from the tulips. She had been sitting quietly near the tulips, observing their bright colors, when one of the tulips spoke. "Honesty is the best policy, dear," the tulip said, its voice clear and bright. "It may not always be easy, but honesty will always lead you to the right path." Sophie sat up, intrigued. "But what if telling the truth is hard?" The tulip nodded. "It is often hard, but remember this. The truth, no matter how difficult, will always make you stronger. Lies may protect you for a time, but truth will set you free." Sophie thought about this for a long time. She had experienced times when telling the truth was hard, like when she accidentally broke her mom's favorite vase, or when she forgot to do her homework and had to admit it to her teacher. It wasn't always easy, but the tulip was right. Truth felt better in the long run. As the days passed, Sophie continued to visit the garden, absorbing each lesson from the flowers. She was amazed at how much they had taught her: kindness from the daisies, patience from the roses, and honesty from the tulips. Sophie's heart felt fuller with each lesson, and she began to notice the changes in herself. She was kinder to her friends, more patient with her little brother, and more honest with herself and others. One afternoon, Sophie's friend Timmy came to her with a problem. Timmy was upset. He had been struggling with a math problem at school, and no matter how hard he tried, he just couldn't figure it out. Sophie could see that Timmy was frustrated, and she wanted to help. "Timmy, maybe you should try being patient," Sophie said gently. "Sometimes things take time. If you keep working at it, you'll get it." Timmy sighed. "But I've been trying for so long. I don't think I can do it." Sophie thought for a moment. "What if you were kind to yourself? I bet if you don't rush and give yourself a little break, the answer might come to you when you're not trying so hard." Timmy looked at Sophie, confused but hopeful. "Do you think so?" Sophie smiled. "I know so. And remember, you can always ask for help if you need it." Timmy nodded and smiled back. With Sophie's encouragement, he went back to his homework, taking his time and being patient with himself. That evening, after a little rest, Timmy returned to his math problems and, to his surprise, the solution finally clicked. "Thanks, Sophie," Timmy said, grinning. "I didn't think I could do it, but I just needed a little patience." Sophie smiled back, her heart swelling with pride. She had learned so much from the flowers, and now she had helped someone else with the wisdom they had shared. She felt more confident than ever that the lessons from the garden were shaping her into a better person. As Sophie sat in the garden one last time before going home that evening, she reflected on everything she had learned. The flowers had shared so much wisdom with her, wisdom that had come from unexpected places, yet had been so meaningful. They had taught her to be kind, patient, and honest, and she knew that these lessons would stay with her forever. "Thank you, flowers," Sophie whispered, looking around at the vibrant garden that had become her special place. "I'll never forget what you've taught me." And from that moment on, Sophie listened carefully to the world around her, knowing that wisdom could come from even the most unexpected places.